Good day and welcome to this week's edition of Tourismus Namibia, where we bring you a couple of topics and obviously try and introduce you to a number of destinations, ideas of what you can do in Namibia. And then obviously at the end of the day, we'll also have a special subject under To The Point. So under topics today, we'll first have a look at this in situ leaching plan that they've got going in their search for uranium down in the Stampriet Aquifer. Secondly, we'll have a look at Emma Vånemo. She's of Sweden, and she actually marched right across Africa, so interesting little snippet there. And then finally, we'll have a look at the KAZA elephants. There has been an elephant count up in the northeast, and this was actually a photo I made when we were up there in Kaudum last year. And then under destinations, we've got Caribbean Recreational Centre, which is in Oshakati. And so we'll be speaking to them, trying to get a couple of ideas for you if you're up in the north. And then the second item we'll introduce to you today is Lemon Tree Coffee Shop, something different in Windhoek for a change. And so this time we don't have accommodations. We actually look at how we can help you to keep busy when you're in either Oshakati or Windhoek. Then under To The Point, we'll have a look at Nkuse. They are busy having a court battle or preparing for a battle in court simply because they feel that the recently introduced new rules and regulation pertaining to animals was done in such a way that animal welfare organizations can't really keep up with what the law now actually describes. So hopefully I'll be able to have you present an enjoyable show to you. Up first, we obviously have topics. Yeah, it might be a good idea if I actually introduce myself. My name is Frank Steffen. Those of you who've watched this show before would know so, but if you're a new viewer, please feel welcome and hopefully you'll enjoy the show. Yes, under topics, first up we've got in situ leaching, and it's obviously all about the Stampriet Aquifer, where the Russian-owned company Headspring Investments wants to make use of in situ leaching. It's a process where they pump water down into the aquifer in order to dilute the uranium deposits there and then pump out the water again. But the big issue about this is the fact that you are basically inserting water into high chemical solutions into a water resource that is unique in Namibia and that many farmers and the surrounding community depend on. So this was a photo made of where they've got one of their testing boreholes down at Stampriet. And Dr. Roy Miller has been on record very often, and he supplied us with maps previously, such as this one, where you can clearly see he indicated where all these various mining activities are actually registered so far, urine plant mining, green mining, and so on. There are quite a number of, and the problem is that at the moment you're basically looking at green mining. They are more on the upper side on this map. The problem is that once you're allowed to one company, it's a question of time and they will all do it. So it's not a case of, oh, don't worry, our single mine won't cause any damage. These are serious implications for that area, especially as you can see there, it goes beyond the borders of Namibia. That is the aquifer. It goes right into Botswana. And the underground water literally would be wasted. I mean, once we're allowed, there won't be a comeback from there. And if you look at the next map that he's got, you can see there slightly at the bottom it says the red marks are basically water boreholes that are deeper than 50 meters. And this was the big thing. So many of these boreholes are smack bang in the middle of the water resource, because the water resource is no deeper than 150 meters. Most of the farmers, I've been to a couple of these hearings, and most of the farmers say, look, you are going into the water that we use for our animals, for our home consumption. And it's obviously not only about the farmers. I mean, people tend to forget that this is an area which houses many local people as well. So this really it can't happen. It should not be allowed to happen. Anyway, so the good news is now that the farmers have basically registered their initiative to fight the Headspring Investments project. And seeing that they've now registered as an organization, they would for the first time be in the position where they can actually take Headspring to court and fight this whole issue there, because it would seem as though the government is really treading very slowly on this subject. And obviously the Ministry of Mines and Energy, having awarded those mining claims, they won't be the first ones to budge. Otherwise this would have happened a long time ago. So yes, we're sitting with a situation for the first time ever that these farmers can now drag Headspring to the court, which is a better situation than in Kavango, where you have all these individual people trying their best to register and get a case heard in court. A small little detail was left out and the case was promptly dismissed in court. So it's better to really do it as an organization and do it properly organized. Yeah, and that's In Situ Leaching. Up next we then have Emma Vånemo. This is a lady, she's quite remarkable as far as I'm concerned. She trekked, she comes from Sweden, and she trekked from the east coast of Africa to the west coast. She started in Zanzibar, so that's far away from here. I mean, and at the end of January, that's when she started her journey. She literally walked across the continent, and when she arrived in Henties Bay in this past week, she was accompanied to the ocean by numerous residents and the mayor, after she had already covered more than 6,000 kilometers for the benefit of the aid organization Doctors Without Borders. So she's the first woman to cross Central Africa on foot. This photo we took from her Facebook page, but as I said, quite remarkable what this lady has done. And as said, it's all done for Doctors Without Borders, raising funds in that way, and a remarkable feat, really, no other way to express it. Yeah, and then we want to talk about the KAZA elephants. So there's been a big count going on. The Secretariat of the Kavango-Zambezi Frontier Conservation Area, KAZA, TFCA, we've often spoken about them. So of that transnational park has now announced that flights for the KAZA elephant census were completed, and that was at the end of October. The KAZA elephant census is a priority action which had been identified during the 2019 Kazani Elephant Summit, which was held by the heads of the states of the KAZA partner states. So according to the statement that they've now given out recently, the survey aims to determine the number and seasonal distribution of elephants, elephant carcasses and other large herbivores, and is a comprehensive undertaking and a coordinated effort by the governments of the partner states, Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia and Zimbabwe. And by the way, these photos are made up at Carnival. This elephant was very interested in our Tourismus Namibia vehicle at the time. Yeah, and so since 22nd August, the total area of 312,000 square kilometers across KAZA has been covered by survey flights, with a total of 697 hours of flying by 8 aircraft. And now that this survey has been completed, the project is moving into the data analysis phase, and with preliminary analysis expected to be available as early as November, December. So in February, March next year, that's 2023, the draft report should be completed. That's what they reckon. By the way, this elephant that you saw on the last photo is the elephant that today appears on the front of the Tourismus Namibia vehicle. And it was a youngish cow, and she clearly had her fun and games. She kept storming the stand where we were, or the hideout in which we were. and she was generally inquisitive, but the nice thing was she did these mock attacks all the time. And then she would, about 50 meters from the hideout, she would stand and then suddenly just shake herself and go back to doing these mock attacks once or twice. So it was quite a nice little stay or experience which we had there, because you could clearly see she was having fun. I mean, she was not really aggressive at all. Anyway, so those are our topics today. Up next, we've got destinations. Right, welcome back, and destinations it is, and this time it's not so much about destinations in terms of accommodation, establishments or whatever. We always bring those to you, obviously, but this time my colleagues had a look. The first one was at the Caribbean Recreational Centre in Oshakati, and this is a place right smack in the middle of Oshakati. There I sort of just indicated it. And it's something where if you are in Oshakati and you're not quite sure on how to keep yourself busy, just to show you that they've actually got very nice places up there in the north as well. Oshakati obviously being one of the main centers up in Novamboland. So if we look at the next map, you will actually see this is where it is, and if I remember, it must actually be quite close to what used to be the SOS Club years and years ago. But anyway, so what they do is they've actually only recently opened. They've got the swimming pool, which you could see there just now, and I'm sure we've got a photo or two here. Yes, there we go. It's got a restaurant, and obviously because of that, it's fully licensed. You can have simply just relax there. And what makes it special is they actually offer swimming classes, and they're available for social events. And even if you just have a little old volleyball or netball tournament, they fully geared for that. So it's something different altogether. And yeah, we've got a little video for you.
Hello everyone, my name is Namwandi Mwatala, but most of my friends and family call me Doctor. So today actually at Caribbean Recreational Centre, so we actually have a lot of activities here. As you can see, yes, for now we have actually the kids. Those are swimming classes with Dr. Jerry. And we also as for now, we actually really seeing the pool and all the stuff. So actually I take you to the bar where you can get yourself drinks and maybe also you can relax and then enjoy the music on the TV and all those stuff. So follow me, please. Oh, welcome to our mini bar at Caribbean. What you can see here is the tennis, table tennis. So you just can come and play your game, whatever. The tennis, and then you can play your game. Yeah, so free. And then we have seats here, we have the television over there. Yes. So you actually have also a restaurant. So when you come by for the pool and all those stuff, you get your drinks. The restaurant is there, you can get your food. And then for the tennis courts, everything here behind me, you can just come by and then be with us. We'll take your view and all those stuff.
Right, and that was Caribbean Recreational Centre in Oshakati. So next time you're up in the north and you don't really know what to do, this might be an alternative. Anyway, and then in Windhoek, similarly, we look at the Lemon Tree Coffee Shop. Now, the Lemon Tree Coffee Shop is actually quite close to NMH, to be dead honest. But here, this gives you a better view. It's in this Robert Mugabe Avenue as you go towards center of town. That would be to the bottom of this photo. When you cross from Nampa, that's where you find the Lemon Tree Coffee Shop. And then obviously the government park, you can't drive past it without seeing it. A load of the typical office blocks set up for government. And so it's just on the left-hand side. Here you can actually see it much better. And I tried to indicate there with that little, by showing you that there's enough parking spaces as well. So they're clearly also available not only for your coffee or something, you can have a nice little lunch there. I've been there before, so I know that they're actually a very nice place to visit. But have a look at the video.
Good day, how are you? This is Lemon Tree Restaurant, and this is our small boardroom. It normally accommodates 6 people. This is our screen projector that you're going to use for your laptops and everything. And that's going to be the chart to write your information, whatever you want to write. Okay? So I can just lead you to the small bigger room. Okay, this one is the second one, a bit bigger than the other one. But it accommodates only 14 people. That will show the bigger screen for projecting your information everything, the flip chart and the board to write your information here. That's now. Okay. So as you can see, we have got mostly outside area for our lunch and breakfast seating. Okay, as you can see, normally we use this facility also to do functions, weddings, and bridal showers, baby showers. Normally you can choose the area to book. Yeah, and seating is only available outside. That's our counter, reception. where you have to order and pay. Okay, so we can just maybe go inside. Okay, that's inside. And these are, how should I say, like a private area. You can see there's got a mirror and very fine big table for maybe a nice meeting. If you want to have a meeting, yeah, that's our inside only for now. Okay, basically our place is only for breakfast from 6. We start from 6 to 4 within the week till 4. Okay, Saturdays from 6 till 8, from 8 till 2 o'clock. From 2 o'clock, we do functions on Saturdays. Sundays, we are unfortunately closed. So yeah, it's only a breakfast and coffee shop in a boardroom conference and functions place. That's all for Lemon Tree.
Yeah, and that was the Lemon Tree Coffee Shop. So it's one of the largest coffee shops in Windhoek, and they offer, like I said, various services: breakfast, lunch, boardroom functions, events, and catering, whatever. So something different for a change, and so possibly more something of interest for our locals. But make no mistake, I see many tourists take these long walks from wherever they're staying and into the center of town, and it might just be a nice little place to quickly stop by, have a coffee or a cool drink, and then continue with whatever you were doing or planning on doing. Right, those are our destinations for today. Up next, we've got To the Point.
We all drive, but what do you drive for?
I drive for the sound.
I drive for turns like this.
We drive for the airtime.
I drive for the challenging conditions.
I drive for these night lights.
I drive for the uphill battle. I drive for the acceleration.
Hey, I drive for that too.
We understand why you drive. That's why Shell Helix fully synthetic motor oils are made from natural gas, designed for ultimate engine performance. Drive on.
Yeah, the next item, or the item that we discussed today under To the Point, is actually quite close to my heart. Why do I say that? Quite simply because I've been to Tohanas, and Tohanas automatically sort of has most of the people thinking of the lines, but it's not only about the lines. Tohanas is very busy always looking after animals that have previously been abused or left out to fend for themselves, even though they were hurt or shot or whatever, injured. And so true to that style, which is really what Marita van der Merwe sort of did all these years, and she and her husband Nick, and then obviously their daughter Marlies. Marlies is now Marlies van Vuren, better known for her activities in KAZA-park. So that's Marlies and Dr. Rudy van Vuren. And so they called the media in this past week, actually on Thursday, and together with their attorney, Chris Cronje, they did a bit of a presentation to us. And so, you know, this world-renowned foundation, the KAZA-park Foundation, is really well known all over the world now. feels that it is being victimized, and it is therefore that they challenge the recently adopted environmental regulations in the High Court of Namibia. Now it seems there's a bit of a hodgy-bodgy going on between Nkuse and Penda Shimali, who's the chief warden. It's been going on and off, and we've been writing about it often in the media. And what makes me sad about it is that you'd find that Nkuse now spends a load of money for court cases defending themselves, because this man will rock up at the park and say, listen, you've got 24 hours to remove all your animals and set them free, or basically get them killed or put down. And you know, we've been writing about it in various papers and reading about it, but clearly there seems to be this thing that he's targeting Nkuse, and so I think it's quite important because he's getting away with it. And at the end of the day, you're really sitting with an animal welfare organization which feels it's hampered in doing their job now, because the sudden changes in the rules and regulations have literally led to a situation where they're running out of space. So typically, if you had a lion, or for that matter, any of these carnivores, you used to need to have 1 hectare per animal. Now it's suddenly 5. Now it's well and nice, obviously, so now we've got 5 and everybody's pleased about it. But the point is, you cannot simply add so much more, you know, it's, get a place that's 5 times larger so that you can accommodate your existing animals, never mind the fact that you still want to save others and help them out there. And so Nkuse has basically said, look, enough is enough. They need to fight this in court, get these rules set aside. And that's why they invited us yesterday. And I've actually cut a little video clip for you so that you can see what they had to say.
With absolutely no stakeholder consultation. Nothing whatsoever. Now, these regulations follow the 2012 regulations on keeping of large carnivores that were published in March 2012. And leading up to the publishing of the 2012 regulations, there was stakeholder consultation, very wide stakeholder consultation. So the question we have to ask is, why do you publish new regulations without any stakeholder consultation? And let's be fair, how many people in this country work with human-carnivore conflict? There are less than 5 organizations in this country that actively work with carnivore-human conflict. The regulations were published on no scientific basis. That we will show you in this presentation. Some of these regulations that were published is just simply impossible to achieve. For instance, on 27 September 2022, the regulations required that for every carnivore that is kept in captivity, you need 1 hectare to keep that carnivore. On 28 September, the regulations are published, telling you that you now need 5 hectares per carnivore. So overnight, you need to go from 1 hectare to 5 hectares. Otherwise, you are unlawful. You're out of the law from one point to another. And remember, there was no sunset clause in these regulations. So technically, on 29 September, where our carnivores have 1 or 2 hectares per carnivore, you are out of the law. These regulations will have severe detrimental long-term consequences for carnivore conservation in this country.
Right, so you can clearly see there's some very unreasonable attitude as far as I'm concerned, and one tends to find that you just wonder what is the real reason why these sort of things are done. Because so far the man has not gotten away with what he attempted to do, and we're not sitting with a situation where Government has often said when people sort of act on behalf of animals, and they will say, yeah, but the people only have the animals at heart, and what about the community? No. In Krankuse's case, that does not apply. Specifically Tohanas, which is part of Krankuse these days, it does not apply because I've been there. I know the schools that they've set up. I know that Dr. van Vuren has been busy for years, and we actually spoke on the show about it, presenting to you Epokiro Post 3, which is basically a clinic right there where they serve the San people, poor people, San people, as well as some of the Herero community at Epokiro, and which is right in the east of Namibia, and so they're doing much more than they need to do to prove to anybody. So this does not apply to Krankuse, and they made some material available to me as well. So I'm just sort of giving that as additional information so that you can see what their arguments are based on. Just have a look. Yeah, and this is really what it's about. We always keep talking about our constitution that in which we've enshrined the will to look after our animals and on our environment. And suddenly I have to ask myself, but what is this? Just empty promises? Are we just talking and not doing? It is sad if, especially in a country where time and again we see that animal welfare is not taken serious. And we're not talking welfare here. We're not talking conservation and that sort of thing. So if animal welfare is not taken seriously, then we have a serious problem. And so I feel that the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism needs to maybe just come together as a group and just redefine who they are, what they're doing, what they're aiming for. Because the point was made actually at the media conference on Thursday, where Dr. van Vuren pointed out that he is of the opinion that some of the MEFT people are simply of the best people you can find for this purpose, for maintaining what we've got, for conserving, for ensuring that the welfare is respected of animals. And he just feels there are just one or two people there who simply do this for personal gain, for whatever reason they do it. We're not, obviously I'm not a judge to tell you what, But clearly something is not in order there. There are too many instances now where you just feel that environment suddenly is not the number one priority in Namibia anymore. And it used to be. So it's important to maybe just review what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve. Anyway, so I wish them the best of luck in court. I truly hope that this thing comes to an end and that MEFT starts getting serious about their business once again. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this show for this week, and I hope you enjoyed the content we brought you, and we'll be seeing each other then again in another 7 days' time. So, same place, same time as always on a Saturday morning. Until then, I remain, and have a nice weekend. Bye.